Dear Diary, welcome to episode 9 of Beers in the Lot podcast. This is John writing to you. My friends today were really mean afterwards while I was cutting the intro. But anyway, let's talk about the Vegas Golden Knights and how they are shaking a lot of stuff up in the desert. We touch on Taylor Hall in the gorgeous city of Buffalo and what it means for the NHL's best fan base, we think. And then also us touching more on our Johnstown Escapades as the tournament is fast approaching. Can't wait for that. It's a big time. Please remember to rate, subscribe to the podcast, and follow us on all socials at Beers in the Lot. Welcome to episode 9. Goodbye, Diary.
All right, I'm ready to get rolling here. I'm ready for some beer.
Goodness gracious.
The bottle just doesn't make a satisfying crack.
That's why you have to pour it into a glass.
I need to get myself a glass.
Oh, Aaron, is that a devil's backbone?
That is a devil's backbone. I'm up in my beer game.
Oh,
this
man.
is an Oktoberfest from DB. It's delicious. I've already had one today.
Only one?
Just one so far. Since I went out and got them. Yeah. What are you drinking, Daniel?
I got Lieutenant Dank from Wicked Weed Brewing.
I almost just did a spit take.
That's great.
I knew that name would get some laughs.
Forrest Gump gets me every time. Lieutenant Dank.
Yeah.
What you got tonight, Rigo?
So I picked up another one from Old Mother Brewing called Double Impressionist IPA. It's a double IPA. They made Impressionist
heavy
before, and it was, just your regular old IPA. So this is the double version. So it's pretty good. Awesome,
staying local.
Awesome can artwork. I don't know who does this stuff, but it's got like a little bit of a horror theme to it. So perfect for
The spooky seasons.
Mid to late October. Yeah, spooky season. So yeah, pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
What's going on over there, Mr. Johnny Walker?
I have a Flying Dog Thunder Peel, so I'm going to have to step up.
You're the new Aaron.
Yeah, I'm the new Aaron here. I have unlike Aaron, though, I don't have like a cache of them, sitting in a bunker. I just had a 12-pack I've been slowly working on the last couple of weeks, so.
You don't have 2,000 Bush beers and Moosehead Rattlers in your safe room?
Well, he probably has another 1,000. Now he has like 1,000 of those Devil Backbone. Aaron just buys in truckloads. Like
I only got a 6-pack of these. I only got a 6.
Buys in bulk.
Yeah,
they'll be gone by next week, guaranteed. They're good.
Nice. Well, speaking of people that'll be gone by next week, who else is going to get traded before we talk next? I feel like we saw some trades, since free agency started and everything.
Sounds like not Flower.
Not Flower. Yeah, that Vegas.
What are they doing?
I feel so much more negative after my bet last week, but I still feel confident. So there are two things. Flower's not going to move. I believe it's due to his salary, and also Leonard is having shoulder surgery. It's somewhat long term, so I think that kind of stalls a little bit. The other thing, Vegas got Petra, but they got rid of Nate Schmidt in the process to Vancouver. And Vancouver, who lost Toffoli, Stetcher, Markstrom, they got kind of a gift for a third-round pick in Nate Schmidt. So that'll help them out on D. I'm happy for Vancouver, an emerging younger team in the West. But Vegas, they're getting this reputation now. I mean, I was listening to Elliot Friedman talk a little bit about it. Agents and players are not happy the way that it's being managed. They're really churning through players. There are several guys they got rid of in the last couple of, in the year really, where they signed them to a 2 or 3, 4-year deal, and then they're getting rid of them in year 1, 2, or 3. And it'll be interesting, especially this upcoming season, because it's season 4 for them. The first season they had that, they could go around the locker room and everyone can point who didn't want you, and they could say it really easily. Well, now it's kind of like, who didn't want you, and you could probably point upstairs to the management team at this point. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in Vegas in the next coming months or season or two, who's actually left there after the Petra signing, because he got all of his money later in the deal as well through signing bonus, so he won't be bought out, which I guess is good for him. And he also has a no move clause.
Has there really been that much more movement since McPhee left?
Well, McPhee's now presidente of hockey operations, and McCrimmon.
Oh, so he went up.
There's something weird there because McCrimmon was going to go somewhere else, and then McPhee moved up to that president of hockey ops, and McCrimmon stayed.
Yeah, the whole Vegas thing right now is just there's something going on, right? Like
Yeah,
like the whole Alan Walsh,
scumbag.
Fleury agent thing.
I was going to say it all stems from the picture.
I'm telling you, I think that
It's
that
Peter
brought a lot
Leonard
of
that got stabbed with a sword. Now he needs the shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
And it's just all this weird stuff that's happened. There's the story, like you mentioned, John, that came out that the players are pissed off that they're involved in trade rumors. They tried to move Nate Schmidt to Florida. That fell through. Then they end up moving him to Vancouver. Obviously, that makes room, and they can sign Pietrangelo, and they give him a huge deal.
pretty significant deal.
When we're seeing like most of the deals in free agency being signed right now are 1 or 2 year deals. I mean, is Pietrangelo really the guy that's going to get them over the hump and then long term keep them successful? I don't know, like maybe, but and then I still go back to like the whole goalie situation and DeBoer and all that stuff that was going on during playoffs. Like I'm a where there's smoke, there's fire kind of person. There's enough going on there that there's something going on in that organization right now that it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know if they got better. I don't know if they got worse, but the moves don't make a lot of sense to me. The Pietrangelo contract is insane to me. That the length of that contract makes no sense for that organization.
Well, and the other thing too that's kind of interesting, and I forget where I heard it because I listened to like 5 or 6 podcasts and read a shit ton of articles the last couple of days doing, after the Vegas situation, because I like the team and clearly I'm financially invested to that team.
You have money on them.
I have money on this now. I got a little more skin in the game than normal. But so where I was kind of, mentioning that George McPhee, Brad McCrimmon, or Kelly McCrimmon, sorry. And then they mentioned how the players feel like they're, just churning them out. They don't really care. It's more like a numbers thing. Gerard Gallant fits kind of that, where like they brought him in. Oh yeah, didn't work out. Bye. And then they got Peter DeBoer. They got kind of where they needed to. And then, thinking of it too, Peter DeBoer is now kind of attached to this team. What happens if next year they take a step backwards?
So
all of a sudden.
Kind of going back to a theme last week around Pittsburgh and Jim Rutherford, are they overreacting to a disappointment in these last playoffs? Despite all the situation and the bubble and return to play and everything that went on, are they overreacting now to, hey, they were probably the Cup favorites beyond a certain point in the season, and then even, in the return to play bubble playoffs. And so they didn't do it. And now they're like, oh, we have to make all these changes. When maybe they didn't have to. I think the goaltending situation is different than like defense with Schmidt and Pietrangelo. But did they have to make any of those moves on the back end? I don't think they did. I've always liked Nate Schmidt. I mean, I know Danny does too. Like, the moves don't make any sense to me. I don't know what they're doing. Like, what's the plan? It doesn't seem like they're trying to get better in any like area as a team. It's just like, well, let's get this guy and try this now. Like,
I also wonder too if there's an element of we've got to get stuff done fast because it's not a normal off season. Let's just maybe the business aspect is starting to really spill over into the personal aspect that some of these players are like we saw with Hornquist. Like maybe there's more taking things personally than there normally is right now because things are
Right.
being done in a very different way because everything's turned upside down. Like maybe that's part of it too. I mean, it doesn't answer the question of how like what is Vegas doing because it's not really cohesive to make cohesion. So like what are they doing?
That's the thing. Like it's so hard to make sense of it because like they're like, okay, Petrangelo's a good player. Like, yeah, maybe you want to sign him, but so many years and so much money. I mean, that's it. Just I think what is his AV? It's like 8 something.
8.5 or 8.8. 8.8.
Right. Yeah.
It's 8.8.
I mean, it's like that's a ton of money. And then the deal is 7 years.
7 years. Yep.
7.
I mean,
Ouch.
No move clause for the duration.
that's like saying, okay, we're gonna build the next like 5 to 7 years of the franchise around this one guy.
That's a central player contract.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, did they really need to do that?
After Pietrangelo basically just said he wanted to move to a new city and wanted something new. Like, what if he thinks that in a year after moving to Vegas? Like,
well, the one thing Vegas has going for them, and I saw a lot of this on the Twitter today, was apparently around the league, like most free agents consider them as an option. Like guys want to go there. And even Pietrangelo said, and of course this is after he signs, but like when he made his visit there with his family to check things out and to meet with people from the team, that's what really sold him, was when they were on site in town seeing how it was. That he said that's really what kind of pushed them over the edge. And he even mentioned that their first priority was staying in St. Louis. So, maybe there's something to that guys want to go to Vegas and they're looking at it as a destination, for their career. But also I'm not a player, so I don't really know.
well, we are going to be players in an upcoming tournament.
What tournament is that?
That? No, I'm talking about the Slapshot Cup. That's what I want to talk about. Because that's coming up in a week and a half. That's how close we are.
Fast approaching.
Close to Halloween.
Always close to Halloween.
It's very close.
Around that time.
Makes it much more fun, more interesting.
Yeah, sometimes there's, Halloween parties in town.
Yeah. Which that's something we've wanted to talk about, is you got to find the spot.
Yeah, you have to find the
where
spot.
that party is going down.
And the spot is not the same every year.
Always
right?
different.
So like the first year we went up there, we didn't know what the deal was. We didn't know, very few of us had actually been to the town. So, we get up there and, Johnstown has their NAHL team, North American Hockey League team, junior hockey, the Johnstown Tomahawks. And they happened to be in town that weekend, which was awesome because we got to go to the games on Friday and Saturday night. So small town, junior hockey, can't beat it. Had a great time at the games. So on Saturday night after the game, a bunch of the guys, all the teams from the tournament are basically there. And everybody's like, hey, we're all going to this place called the Freight Station afterwards. So we're like, yeah, the Freight Station. They're like, yeah, there's this band there, cheap beer, cheap drinks, loud music. They got fire pits outside. It's like really cool. So yeah, let's go. So we go, and it was a country rave. It was a big warehouse with this like country cover band, 1 million people, everybody from the tournament was there. And then everybody from the town seemingly was there. Just really loud, lots of people dancing, singing to the songs that they knew. Great time. So going into the next year, I don't know of you guys who was there the second year.
We were all there.
All
We were
of
all
you
there.
guys,
We made it the
right?
second year,
Because
yeah.
there was only one year where like Aaron wasn't there,
Yeah.
or Danny wasn't
That was
there.
2018. I wasn't there.
Yeah. So the second year we're all there, right?
Sorry, 2017.
And we've been talking about the country rave all year. Right?
340
Yeah,
days
right,
leading
right.
up to
Like every
and then
week,
started
every week on Sunday night, Old Fat Ball Guys hockey, we're talking about the country rave, right? For like hours every Sunday night. Okay. So we get up there and we're like, after our games Saturday night, we'll, get cleaned up, maybe find something to eat or go, check out a happy hour bar or whatever, and then go to freight station later, right? What happened when we got to the freight station that year?
We were the
It was
only
dead.
ones there.
I
It
think
was
we
dead.
tripled. I think we tripled the capacity.
It was absolutely dead, right? Because that wasn't the spot that year.
Yeah, the
Yep.
cover band wouldn't even play Freebird.
That's
it was,
right.
It was
And we
bad.
yelled at him for a long time.
And what song was it? We knew the lyrics. There was an STP song that was playing.
It was STP, and they
but I
had
think
like
it
a
was
different
probably-
guy come up and sing.
It was
It was
probably
like the
Wicked
drummer or
Garden or
something.
something. Like, yeah.
No, it was.
Yeah.
I forget which one it was.
Was
but
it
yeah.
sex type thing? Maybe it was sex type.
That's it was off core. I know that.
Yeah.
It was off core.
The only thing I know was we were singing the lyrics to them louder than he was,
Yes.
and he
And he
like
was
tried
getting
to
them wrong.
skip a few. And
Yes.
we're like, whoa,
Yes.
hey.
And also, yeah, he didn't know
Heckling.
the words.
Yeah.
He was the lead
We were
singer
heckling.
and he didn't know the words. So it was dead, right? Dead.
Absolutely dead.
I
Graveyard.
forget, where did we end up that second year?
I think we ended up back at Scott's.
I don't think that's right.
No, we went up the hill,
We went up the hill.
like
Well, first
an
was the
actual,
Johns-
like an actual
The
And
hill.
Johnstown Inn.
we went
Johnstown
to the
Inn.
Johnstown Inn.
That's
Yes.
right.
And that place was
Oh yeah,
jumping.
that place
Oh,
was.
They were
jumping.
having
it
their
was full.
Halloween,
It was a Halloween.
party. Everybody was dressed up. We weren't because we didn't bring costumes because we're in a hockey tournament. All we brought was gear and like 2 pairs of underwear and like an extra pair of jeans because you can still smoke in some bars in Pennsylvania. And you don't
That
smell
is
like that
certainly
afterwards, right?
You certainly can smoke in the bars.
So that was the spot, right? That year. And then the next year, it was not the Johnstown Inn.
Nope.
no,
Right?
Or the
So-
freight station.
or the freight station, because we tried to go back there. We've tried to
Or-
go back there a couple times, and it even up to last year, and it was dead.
I think we went in for one beer last year and walked out.
Yeah, last
We
year
got-
we
we
didn't
got
even get to go
beer.
into the same place. It was a different part of that.
Right.
same
We didn't
venue.
get to go
Yeah.
into the warehouse part. We had to go into like the restaurant bar area, and it was set up like where the band was. It was like this lounge. It was like real weird vibe.
It was like fish type stuff.
Yeah, they're playing the wrong kind of music too.
yeah, not
Yeah,
our type.
Yeah,
Not the
John,
kind of
was
music that we needed.
it was
Yeah.
it was like a
It was a
fish
fish ripoff
tribute
kind of thing.
band or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, like it was.
No
you know,
thanks.
There
It's
was
just
some-
not the right vibe.
There
for
was a
what we
guy
wanted.
lunging
Yeah.
or something in front of him.
Yeah, he was
weirdly.
doing he was doing calisthenics.
Yeah, it was very strange.
To the fish
I'd rather-
tribute band.
I'd rather listen to the guy forget words to STP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did we end up after that, though? I forget.
Was this last year?
Should we even go
This was
there?
last year.
It was
Yeah,
last year.
Last year. Should we
Last
even go
year
there?
we ended up at
We ended up at Lucy's, which for all of you who are not aware of Johnstown, it is a bar you would probably see in a lot of bigger towns because it is a gay bar. And we had probably one of the best nights in said gay bar just
It was
because
awesome.
we drank every single Miller Lite they've ever gotten.
All the
in
Miller
that
No,
place.
you got to tell you have to tell the story though. Like when we got there, it was what was it? It was like a
It
$5.
was a Halloween, but it was $5.
$5
$5 cover.
right? And we had walked a couple blocks to get there. We've had a few drinks. It's a
And we
little
had to
late
meet
at
up with
night.
several
Right.
factions
So
of our
when
party.
we get to the door and everybody's like, "Oh, I don't have cash, just have card." It's like, okay, who has cash? We're going
Rigsby
in.
had cash.
We're going in. This is
the guy. I remember the guy. The
this
guy
is
who
the
actually was like taking the cover. He was a Johnstown. He worked for the Tomahawks, like a ticket usher or something too. He had the Johnstown Tomahawks jacket on.
So this was the Halloween party. So to set it up, there was like a zombie crawl all day or like all afternoon, evening or whatever, and it ended up there. This is the town like Halloween party for that year, last year. So we get there, the place is packed. The DJ is dressed up, spitting image of Freddie Mercury.
Perfect cosplay.
Like
perfect.
Incarnate, man. Like that dude.
At Live Aid,
like,
keep that in mind.
Yeah.
At Live Aid.
At Live Aid, yeah.
Right.
Wife beater and the microphone.
Right.
Yeah,
if you've
Yes.
seen the original footage or the movie, like he looked just like Freddie Mercury at Live Aid. So we get in there and the place is packed. It's nuts. Freddie Mercury's DJing. I don't even know how to describe some of the people. but so, we are, how many of us were there? Like 8, 10, maybe. Something
yeah.
like that.
10
Around about
or
that,
so
Yeah.
Like
straight
10
guys.
We were a
straight
larger group.
dudes with like we're at a hockey tournament. We have jeans,
No
sneakers,
costumes.
jeans, sneakers, hoodies,
Hats.
Ball hats.
quarter zip jackets, ball hats,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
typical beer league hockey players out on the town, right?
Yeah, we're really dressed to the nines.
We're definitely dressed for the occasion.
We're
Yeah.
dressed to the sevens.
Right?
Yeah, to the sixes.
And
Yeah.
so we kind of are hanging out and we're just taking in the scene, and we send somebody to go get beers from they have 2 bars, one in the front, one in the back, and they go and they bring a bunch of beers back, and then somebody goes to the other bar and gets a bunch of beers, and this goes on for a while, and eventually somebody goes to one of the bars and says, "I need another round of like 8 beers." And the guy goes, "You can't have them. You drank all the Miller Lights." So the 10 straight dudes
Straight guys.
drank all of the
All the
Miller
Miller-
Lights in Lucy's in Johnstown.
But as we approach, Kraken. What going on?
What you getting into,
It
Dan?
looks like a Four Loco.
Chameleon
What's going on
IPA.
there?
Chameleon IPA pounder.
Oh,
Okay. I
pounders.
just saw the green can and I was
Pounder.
like, is that a Four Loco? That's tight.
That shit's banned, dog. They changed the recipe.
Oh, what is it? Like less alcohol now? I guess.
Less
Less
cocaine.
caffeine.
that's
Less
true.
cocaine.
Oh.
Less plutonium.
Well, isn't it? Yeah, it's like manufactured in like 3 Mile Island, right? Isn't that where the bottling plant is or something? I mean, geesh.
Can we talk about
Can we talk about?
Taylor Hall and Buffalo?
Yeah, let's
Absolutely.
get on that bandwagon now. Let's do it.
Why Buffalo?
Why not Buffalo? That's the question I'm going to ask you.
Now, it is a good hockey town, right? I mean,
Yes.
I think he stated that everybody roots for Buffalo, right? Everybody wants to see them do well. I
Yes.
tend to agree. Yeah, I was a fan of Finneganov back in the day.
Oh my,
Yes,
that's going
yes.
way back.
I was. He had a very good hype video. I used to watch
Yeah,
it
he
all
did.
the time. And
Isn't that why you wear 61?
Yes, it was. It was. I had to change it. Too many people wore 61, so I just changed it.
I wear 36 because I'm Matthew Barnaby. He's my boy. So he was a Sabre, Penguin for a hot minute too.
So why Buffalo? Tell me.
I think kind of what you said where, everyone around the league does root for Buffalo. I know I like watching the Buffalo games. I want to see that team do well. They're a great sports city. I always love seeing the Bills Mafia stuff. I would like to see I would love
Tables.
to see. Yeah, I would love to see a Sabres mafia at some point. Even.
Yeah, they need to transfer that over.
But I liked Ralph Kruger years ago when he was in Edmonton, and I always liked what he said, the message he brought. And then he was with Team Europe for the World Cup of Hockey. Then he worked with Leeds United for a little bit, Barclays Premier League, which is kind of interesting. Like
in football,
exactly,
or soccer.
What an interesting path he's taken back to the NHL. But I like the message he has, where it's like player development, and he wants to get the most out of every player, and he wants to make sure everyone's maximized in their talent.
Mm-hmm.
If you're Taylor Hall too, like everywhere he's kind of been, it's been on a team where if they're winning, the city explodes and they love it and it's great. But really, like, has it really worked out for him anywhere? I like Taylor Hall as a player. He seems like a really good guy. A lot of people around the league have good things to say about him. What a better place than Buffalo to like really kind of cement something. And then as a 1-year deal, he's going to put up a ton of points with Jack Eichel. He really is. So for him, it's almost like he's banking on himself. If he does help turn that team around, I mean, even if they improve a little bit, maybe get a sniff of the playoffs or even like kind of late season run to it, that just improves his value.
So the structure of the deal is really interesting, and actually Taylor Hall like commented on it. You know, it's 1 year, $8 million, right? He actually said that he had multiple offers for multi-year deals on the table, but they weren't, the right situation, probably not the right money for him. And he was also concerned about like how the league's going to progress into next season through COVID and how things turn out going into January when they're supposed to start, which I thought was interesting. He actually specifically mentioned that players and people around the NHL want Buffalo to succeed, which I thought was really interesting, and is in line like with what you guys are saying. I love Buffalo sports fans. They're some of the coolest people like I've met personally. So there was a group of Buffalo Sabres, and I'm assuming Bills fans also.
Of course.
So Sabres fans that a buddy and I, whenever we would go to Caps Buffalo games when Buffalo was in town, we would always run into this group of people at the Green Turtle when it was still open, down at that point it was Verizon Center still, but now it's Capital One. So we would run into them before the game at Green Turtle getting beers, and then we would see them after the game at Green Turtle getting beers and stuff. And it was the same two dudes, and then like it was like another group of like 4 or 5 people that were there like rotating through. But the same two dudes were always there. One guy wore old school Pat LaFontaine Sabres jersey. So I called him fake Pat LaFontaine.
Yeah.
And I still don't know what his real name was. I have no idea, but he was fake Pat LaFontaine. And he always introduced the other dude as Drunk Dave.
Drunk Dave.
And they all called him Drunk Dave. And those guys you want to talk about like Bills Mafia and Buffalo fans, those guys were insane. They would be standing on tables and bar stools and Green Turtle. And like they were doing the whole thing, right? Like
exactly.
They weren't jumping on the tables and all that stuff, but they were crazy. But they were also awesome. They're the best visiting fans that I've ever encountered at Caps games. And we loved running into them. When we would get tickets to those games, we were always like, we hope we run into fake Pat LaFontaine and Drunk Dave. And because of that, like I love Buffalo sports fans, and I hope Hall going up there helps out this year. Unfortunately, it's only a 1-season deal. When he comes to the end of it, does he like it there and want to stick around? Or like you say, Johnny, is he using it as like a platform to the next deal that he gets from whatever team that he actually wants to go play for?
I'm really interested kind of because it's a big year for the Sabres. I mean, they don't really, they've had a few years under the Jack Eichel era. They've switched coaches. managers. The whole scouting department has now been changed up.
Yeah.
The entire front office is totally different now as well, because Kevin Adams is now the general manager, and I'm really curious to see what happens to that organization, because Jack Eichel is making a lot of money now too. This is almost too like a Jack Eichel thing. Like, you need to elevate your game because now you have a winger on your side who is of elite talent. Taylor Hall is in that elite group.
Maybe that's what Eichel needed, though. I mean,
that could be it.
Maybe he never had the right people around him.
Do you think he compared centers when making the contract? Think that came into making the decision, or
for a guy who's like who's a top tier talent like that, who I'm going to play with has to be like paramount almost.
We talk about that in men's league too, right?
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to be on that team. I'm going to play with crap players. Yeah.
But Taylor Hall, Taylor Hall apparently had like,
that. Yeah.
Yeah, he had offers from, Boston apparently. There was rumors that Vegas was potentially in it. They had to figure something out with the money. And I think the one reason he signed in Buffalo was the money was like his kind of offer / situation. It was cleared. No team had to go, hey, we got to make some money things work or do this. Or then even kind of like we're willing to do longer term, but less money. So I think this is a good fit because A, he knows where he's playing. B, he's getting his money. And C, he can kind of figure out after this year what happens with the NHL landscape and also himself. Their goaltending situation, it's Carter Hutton and Linus Omar.
About to ask. Yeah, I was just about to ask about that. Is like, I think they still have issues, and the whole idea that like this 1 year deal that Hall has with them is going to somehow like be a progressive step for them to become a playoff team and become a contender eventually. Like, I don't know if that really is it. I think this is just kind of a, hey, this is a piece that we can bring in. It's relatively low risk for both sides. He makes a good chunk of change for his skill level. They don't have to commit to multiple years. And then at the end of it, maybe they decide that it worked out and, he stays in Buffalo, or he could just walk, right? Or maybe he's a good chip to have come trade time.
Trade deadline.
Right? So once they get to that point, he's going to be most of the way through that contract, so the money's not going to be an issue. He's a good rental at that point, right?
It's the second year in a row get moved.
What about the expansion draft?
Well, he's a UFA, so he can't go anywhere yet.
Yeah, I think there's some protection on both sides from that. But from his
perspective too, though, he's got a great bridge deal here essentially.
Yeah.
So he can go into Buffalo, and if he impresses and say he helps that team get to the playoffs, like you guys are saying, if they get like a shot in the playoffs, he's going to get paid. It doesn't matter who it is. He's going to get paid next year. Like, he's making $8 million now. If he helps that team out in a big way, if he's the team's MVP, it scores the most points with Jack Eichel. He's going to get paid. He's going to make a lot of money next year.
And Buffalo still has about $13 million in cap space. There's a lot of guys still unsigned.
Yeah.
A ton of guys.
Oh, are they at
Maybe
the
they should
floor?
use that on a goalie.
They currently have 67.9, which
are they at the floor?
Which is the floor. It's like
Okay,
68-ish. So they're already set.
So maybe this deal too was just to get there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because I'm looking at it now. Like, if you look at like their back end, I don't mind it. So you have Ristolainen, Colin Miller, Brandon Montour, Jake McCabe, Rasmus Dahlin. That's kind of like your top five. I don't mind that. All those guys are decent. On the front end, you got Cody Eakin. He'll be okay.
We don't have video, but the other three of us are all making faces.
Why?
Because you're like, oh, the D is actually pretty decent.
We're like, who?
Really?
I heard one guy. I heard one guy.
I mean, I know the names.
I think they're okay.
But, yeah.
I think they're okay. I think it's more goaltending wise with them. I think maybe it's the systems they have in play. I
think
do
it's
think
everything.
their decor. I think their decor is really young. That probably doesn't help either.
Yeah.
But still, like
This is Kruger's second year? Okay, so yeah, you come in the first year, usually right, doesn't go well on average.
I remember Buffalo was tearing it up the first part of the year last year.
They were. Yeah, they were.
They were playing really well. They were shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
And then they severely fell back to earth in a big way. So I mean, I don't know. I don't mind that D compared to some teams. I mean, it's not like they have Jack Johnson.
I'm surprised
in New York.
I'm surprised you didn't go off on Jack Eichel though.
I know, me too. I was like waiting for it.
I was waiting for you.
I kind of wanted to set him up.
Well, because I said it in our group text, and I 100% mean it. If Taylor Hall comes out and has a great year after what he said publicly, I hope they don't even do a ceremony. I hope the trainers just crudely cut the C off Jack Eichel's jersey and put it on Taylor Hall's. Like I'm not a Jack Eichel fan for the stuff he says. Like I get it. You're a captain. You don't like losing. You're unhappy with it, but we've kind of said it for years, and I think people in NHL media have hinted around it. It's not all management. There's something in that locker room that's going
passionate, John.
Say whatever you want. It sounds like a little baby. I don't like it.
Here
it is. There it is.
All right, that's going to be our show. Thanks for listening, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review on your podcast outlet. Follow us on the socials at Beers in the Lot. Be sure to tune in next week and catch episode 10. We got something special for you guys. And as always, thanks for listening.